What's up, my family? It's Kiahonfire, and welcome back to Conan Exiles. Hope you're having a lovely day. Today we're going to be talking about the Q&A stream that the developers did just yesterday, and we're going to be looking into some of the juicy bits in this stream, and I'm just going to cut out a few of those parts, so you don't have to watch the full hour-long stream. You could, if you don't want to anyway, you could just hear all the important parts in a very short video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And for those who have no idea what I'm talking about, pretty much the devs sat down to answer some questions people had sent them on the forums previously when they asked for some questions about what's going on with things like consoles and what's going on with Siptah, why is the thrall so hard to get, kind of questions like that. So let's have a look what Tasha has to say to the team.
Probably very aware, Scott and Alex, is will it be possible to travel between the Exiled Lands, the base game, and Isle of Siptah, the new expansion?
Yeah, so this is something we are working on. It is something we wanted originally for when we planned to actually launch the game. And one of the reasons why we went with early access first, since the feature was not ready yet. So it is in active development.
So transference is on the table, as many people wanted to know, and was like, why the hell is it not in here, you know? Well, it's being worked on, and is apparently one of the reasons why it's in early access, which is absolutely great to hear that it is absolutely being worked on, and it's not a solid no, it's an actual yes. So we got that to look forward to be able to transfer between the two. It'll be interesting to see how they implement that, and further on in the video they actually explained that it will be put into test live at some point where we can go and test it, hopefully before next year. Now the next question is concerning the thralls and how hard they are to get on Siptah. As you know, the thrall mechanics are very different on this one, and Scott and Alex go a little bit deeper into this.
It is harder to get thralls in Siptah. It's something we know. It's feedback we've gotten internally, feedback we got in the beta. And so we do want to address that, but not by really changing the Siptah mechanics too much, but changing sort of the approach players and the haves and the have-nots, sort of.
So it's not as stuck. It's not either feast or complete famine.
And what do you know, the very next day they changed some things in the surges, which is kind of interesting, but it seems to be in more correlation to the amount of things that spawn out of these surges, so you're not absolutely swarmed in loads of them at one time. So what they changed was balancing tweaks for the surges, so they will spawn in 3 waves now. Wild surges will spawn a number of enemies equal to the current wave count, i.e. 1 enemy for the first wave, then 2 when it dies, and then 3 when they die. So it would be 1, 2, 3 you'll get in each. And then they said the only exception to that is the rule of Tefari surges, where they will spawn 2 enemies with each wave because they do not have any crafting thralls. So if you see a Tefari surge and you want crafting thralls, then just don't go for it, or just get rid of them. And then they have also added a duration in them for 6 hours, so now they will stay on the map until that 6-hour period is over, unless somebody defeats the surge there, and then it will disappear, which means no more surges disappearing when the storm comes, so you don't lose out on potentially really nice thralls you might have seen. But I'm hoping later on they'll address it a little bit further, because at the moment it's a little bit ass to actually go and get crafters, and even the top tier ley shrines don't always provide a nice amount of named crafters, essentially, really. And it will literally, if you want to get that kind of thing going, you're going to need to kill 20 bosses, which seem to be incredibly rare for some reason in this version of Conan, when in the beta it was not, they were everywhere. So I don't know what's up with that. So we have to see with that. Hopefully they'll make some tweaks there as well, because you literally need to kill 20 of those bosses to be able to do one of those shrines, and that's quite like asking a lot of someone to do, especially if you're solo as well, in a kind of mechanic that already spawns a lot of things on you. So we need something there to be sorted out, or maybe some answers on that one as well.
The new, tell us about the new customization option or features that we're working on.
Recustomization.
Yeah. So we are going to put we're going to put a way in game for people to essentially enter character creation, at least the UI again, so that you can change your head, your face, change your hair. Right. Yeah. So It's going to be a crafting bench that you interact with. The concepts for it look amazing so far. Yeah, and then this will allow us to add additional customization options, which is something that the team is working on right now, with new beards, new hairstyles, new faces, and other things.
I can finally.
Sorcery ?
Sorcery. I don't know really much about.
It's like unicorns.
So Joel promised this. I think I was in the room when he did this in San Francisco in 2017. I think at GDC. Maybe it's 2018.
No, that was way earlier. I think it was 2016 or so. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a feature I want to bring. It is not going to happen for Siptah. Sorry to ruin any people expecting that. It's not one of the features that is on the way to launch. So yeah, we want Sorcery to be amazing. We want it to fit into the world of Howard and the Conan IP.
The lore, yeah.
The lore, right? Yeah. So the Sorcery is different. It's not your typical high fantasy, flying around with wings and shooting lightning bolts out of your hands. It'll be different in Conan.
So pretty much what they're saying is it's not off the table, but they have no plans in introducing it anytime soon, especially not with Siptah. So we could be looking into maybe next year or the year after, maybe waiting for this kind of thing to come in. Once they got all of their expansion stuff out of the way, because of course they're going to be releasing it for console, fixing it up for the rest of this year, and then we're going to be waiting again for them to fully, implement what they need to implement within this time frame as well. So we'll see about that. We'll see what's coming on the table. As for now, I don't think you're going to get Sorcery for a very long time.
Random wild searches are annoying with the RNG of spawn thralls. Any plans to rebalance this?
Random wild surges are annoying with the RNG of thralls. This is part of us addressing the play styles to cater for different people. The RNG will probably not be removed, but you'll be able to somehow control it a little bit better. We'll see exactly with which solution we end up with.
So this is going back to the question earlier about the RNG of thralls. What he's saying is it won't change in the ways of the percentage that these thralls will come out. However, they might implement different ways in the future, so it's not a direct no. So there might be some changes later on that might help us get a little bit more luck in getting certain thralls like crafters, because the crafters at the moment are absolutely ridiculous to get a nice one unless, again, you do those really high level light shrines. And even some of the high level light shrine testing I've been doing, you get a lot of fighters and you don't really get any crafters, minus maybe a T3 or something, or a T2, and it's a little bit off-putting that you have to put that amount of work in for maybe something that's not as great, so hopefully they will do something about this. So now we're going on to another segment. This is more catered towards the console people in general, and perhaps maybe some stuff about updates for people that don't have Siptah and just have the normal Conan version on PC as well. But we're going to start off with the Xbox question, because as you know, and I've heard a lot of people crying about this, and for good reason, Xbox is having trouble right now with certain things. So they were going to address this issue.
When are we going to address issues with Xbox?
So we have a fix in testing, and hopefully we'll send it to certification soon. I assume this is in people asking about the crashes that increased when we released DPR 0.6. Yeah, so how we're going to address this first is memory optimizations. We had a lot of changes planned that are in Siptah right now or coming out in the next patch. Since it is not on consoles yet, unfortunately, we couldn't release those. So some of our programmers have taken those from the Siptah builds and integrated them into the console build. So I hope to get that out very soon.
So by the sounds of it, you could be waiting another couple of weeks or so. We'll have to see on that one, unfortunately. But yeah, pretty much it sounds like they're still working on a fix. But then, of course, with console and their certification, you have to wait at least a week or so for the actual people on the other end to go, yeah, okay, you can release this update. Which is kind of annoying in a way, because it's kind of like a gateway that blocks off game developers from maybe developing the game so much on consoles themselves. So you'll have that as well. So I imagine once they got it fixed, hopefully they'll let us know. But there wasn't actually any solid date on it, which was a little bit depressing, really. I would have hoped they would have told us, well, maybe next week or something, maybe next month. I don't know. We need some kind of date on it at least, but it must be something really serious if it's just taking them this long. I would hope that anyway.
Final launch dates.
Early next year.
Yeah, they talked about their final launch date and they are sticking to the same things, so early 2021. There isn't really much more to say on that. They don't have anything solid, so like I was saying in the previous video, that could be anywhere in between January, February and March, really. That's what I would consider early anyway.
Kiahonfire is also asking, will console users be receiving any kind of new content or fixes between now and next year when the planned release is of Siptah?
Yeah, so when we are done with the firefighting of, it's not really firefighting, when we're done with the launch work, we have some plans to try to get the Siptah base version, so all the changes we've made, put to console. So I do not have a timetable for that yet, or time frame for it rather, but yeah, it will hopefully happen substantially before launch early next year.
Alright, so yeah, I did ask them a few questions on their forum. Of course, I said I would. In the stream we did together, I didn't really have the opportunity to ask them some questions, but luckily when they had this open, I was able to forward some questions that kindly they have answered the majority, or answered other people's questions that I've also asked, you know. So with this one, I have been hearing a lot about people going, well, when are we going to get our next update? We haven't really had any updates this year on console at all. So yeah, I thought I'd ask this one because I thought it would be a pretty good question to ask, because of course it would be nice for console players to have something in the meantime while they are waiting for the expansion, so they're not totally forgotten about. And they did stress that you are not forgotten about in the stream, but you know, action speaks louder than words, and we will see how that goes. But they said like before the early next year, so hopefully still in this year you'll get something, and by the sounds of it you'll probably be getting the new healing mechanics that are coming out, and maybe so just some of the new allo mechanics for healing, temperature. I imagine that's probably what you're going to get, I think, but we'll see.
So one of the unfortunate things is that the hunger and thirst system for a very long time was untouched and often skipped for improvement, right? So now that we have addressed the aspect of healing that was negatively impacting user experience and engagement with our content, we have removed that problem and are now facing another one, which is an old system that has not been updated for a while that really ought to be looked at. So for me, now that we're sort of addressing healing, we can put our attention on the food and the hunger and thirst system to make it much more engaging for players to interact with.
And this bounces on to my next kind of question I did write down, but somebody worded it like better when they asked the question. I pretty much have found the food system being pretty irrelevant right now because of the healing, and they did address this, saying that it's something on their list that they need to get changing, because at the moment we have so many food types in there that are just wasting space at the moment. They're just assets that are sitting there that you don't really need to click anymore. You don't really need cooking recipes at all in the new expansion. They're rather unimportant because the healing has been ruled off of them, and you might as well just cook yourself some haunch and let it be a day, you know, or something like that, or another high grade food just to eat, to sate your hunger, because at the moment all it does is just fill your food bar and that's it. Or maybe some of the other special things like feast might give you a little bit of stamina regen, but apart from that, food is pretty useless right now. And they did say they will be looking into that hopefully very soon, because they've already done the first stage, which is revamping their old healing system. So I look forward to them, because at the moment there's absolutely no point in you cooking random different bits and pieces unless you're on a roleplay server. So there is absolutely zero point in putting the effort into the stove cooking anymore, which is kind of sad in a way, but that's how it is these days. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little recap on the developer Q&A stream. Let me know any questions you still are like thinking about on that they didn't answer. Perhaps we might be able to get some more answers in the future as well. I hope they do keep up these streams as well, perhaps. I would love to see more streams from Filmcom, to be honest. Even if it's just the developers and people on the team, like the community team, maybe playing a little bit of the game themselves and talking to people in general. That kind of interaction would just be nice, you know? It wouldn't be much effort either, I imagine. That's just like maybe an hour stream of just gameplay and doing something. Just to be like, hey, we're still alive, you know? Oh, we might be working on this next week. That would be great, you know? That kind of thing. It's always nice to have a little bit more communication, especially from game companies, etc. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Thanks for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!